Hello and welcome to day 4 of the 7 Days of Movement Challenge. And welcome back. Hopefully you have done day 1, 2, and 3. If you haven't, please go back and do them. Today we are working through the spine, this beautiful column of bones that houses a whole bunch of really important things like the spinal cord. So yeah, we're going to spend some moment exploring the spine, creating some space, and of course bringing awareness. So come to your mat. It's a good idea to be barefoot if you can be. Otherwise, if you need to keep your shoes on for now, that's also fine. So starting as we have the previous days, just spreading the feet and lifting the arches and feeling the legs right underneath the pelvis, gently bending into your knees. And then just allowing a little bit of softness, a little bit of length in your lower back, connecting to your center and shifting the weight from side to side. Connecting to your breath, noticing your inhale and noticing your exhale. And as you stand and shift your weight, just bring your awareness to the length of your spine. Maybe starting right from the top where it starts here where the head sits beautifully on the top of the spine, and then scanning down through the neck space and scanning down through the middle back and into your lower back, and then finding the space of the pelvis. Good, and let's take a scan from the base, so all the way from the base of the spine, right at the bottom, moving through that lower back, scanning through the middle and the upper spine, and then into the neck space. Great. Keep your feet underneath your pelvis. Release your arms at your side. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, I want you to just nod your chin down towards your chest and sense into the space of the back of the neck. And notice how that opens as you take the chin to the chest. And inhale and lift your chin up towards the sky without changing anything else in your body. And see how that affects the front of the neck space. And then again, exhale, chin to the chest, keeping the rest of the body nice and stable and strong. And inhale, lifting chin to sky. So we're starting with some very straightforward flexion. And then as we inhale, we open up into extension. And we're focusing on the neck space, the very tip top of the spine. We're going to take it a little bit lower now, chin to chest, and start to roll your shoulders forward, bend your knees, and see if you can get some of that flexion to move into your upper back. Then inhale, press through your feet, stretch the legs, and again, just rocking the head back, opening the throat. Exhale, chin to chest, soften the knees, take it a little bit into the upper back. And inhale, lifting. So I'm using my legs to assist this forward flexion as I go chin to chest. And then again, I press through my legs as I anchor and find that extension of the spine. Let's go a little bit deeper, chin to chest on the exhale. Bend your knees quite generously and see if you can get your nose in line with your belly button. So you've gone into a bit more forward flexion, and then press through the legs. Inhale, and again, open the throat. Exhale, chin to chest. Nose to belly button. Bend your knees and inhale, recover. Let's take that flexion all the way down towards the floor. So chin to chest. Past nose, past belly button, and then start accessing the weight of your head as you come forward into this inversion here. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Then press through your feet and your legs as you slowly curl up one vertebra at a time. and lifting, opening the throat. Careful not to rest the head back so that you can't breathe. You want to lift, keep the back of the neck active, and then chin to chest, rolling down, one vertebra at a time. Go as far as you can, press to the feet and recover. We're going to do one more like that, and I would like you to check in with the spine and sense if there are any little glitchy spots as you roll through. So I know in my body, I have a few little spots on the spine where it doesn't really want to bend that much, and that's okay. That is what it is right now. Coming back up to stand, head on top of the body. All right, good. We're going to change that pathway slightly. So we've been moving down in forward flexion and recovering through a roll up. I'd like us to go down in extension of the spine and then recover in extension of the spine. Okay, so we're going to bend the knees slightly, lift the breastbone like we did earlier, opening up the front of the throat. And now I'd like you to hinge forward from the hip joint and see if you can find an arcing of the spine. And then at the last moment, you're going to release your head, feel the weight of the head, and we're going to reverse that. Bend into the knees, look forward, scooping, 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 finding that lovely arc of the spine. Come back, open the throat, and if you want to, you can come back to center. Take that again. Open the front of the throat, inhale, bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips, and arc through that lovely column of bones, releasing the head at the last moment. Bend the knees, look forward, and think of scooping yourself up in that beautiful extension of the spine. And back to center. Let's take one more like that. Lifting, opening the throat. Inhale, bend at the knees. Exhale, hinging forward. Release at the bottom, breathing in. And recover through that lovely scoop. And return to center. Very nice. So that's forward flexion. And then moving through that extension. Yeah, we can thread those together, but I'm not going to do that today. We'll come back to that in another class. Placing the hands just in front of your, just on your pelvis, and you can have your legs underneath your pelvis as well, a little bit wider if you prefer. We're going to move into lateral flexion of the spine. So I want you to notice this pelvis staying quite stable or balanced on top of your legs. And we're going to think of shifting the shoulder girdle off of the pelvis from left to right. Okay, so I'm not letting my pelvis shift off my legs. If I let my pelvis shift, then I start to almost sway, and I'm not actually getting much flexion in the spine. I'm just kind of side bending, right? Or leaning. So we want to anchor and then shift shoulder girdle over. Come back to center and shift. Really stay quite strict with yourself about keeping your pelvis on top of your legs. Yeah, and you want to see if you can keep your shoulders parallel to the floor. So be careful of lifting shoulders and kind of sending pelvis out. You can breathe in and breathe out. It's like a gliding, yeah? So lower body staying stable and upper body is taking that lateral shift from side to side. Good. Come back to the center. We're going to change that a little bit, and we'll come back to it just now. But think of sending the breastbone forward without sending the tail back or creating any extension in the spine. You know, you want to keep the pelvis, again, same thing, on top of the legs, and send the breastbone forward. Yeah, shoulders might want to come back a little bit. And then we're going to oppose that movement by sending the breastbone back, and the shoulders might come forward. Yeah, forward with the breastbone and back with the breastbone. Pelvis is staying quite on top of the legs. I have bent my knees just to give me some stability through the legs. If I jammed into the knees, I might fall over a little. And I'm staying active in my lower belly. Yeah, so last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So we're going to add those two exercises together. We're going to go into breastbone forward, lateral shift, breastbone back, lateral shift to the other side, and then come back to the front. And we're going to keep going in the same direction. Let's take one more slowly. Lateral, send it back, shift, and send it forward. Let's take 3 a little bit faster and see if we can sew those movements together. Last one. And you'll notice that you're drawing a beautiful circle with that upper body, upper spine. Let's change that, change direction. So we go forward with the breastbone, over to the other side, back with the breastbone, over to the side, back to the front. 2 more like that. Side, back, side, front. Last one, nice and slow. And let's speed it up a little. Over to the side, smooth out the transition. And side, smooth out. Keep breathing, last one, side. And back to the front. Good, lovely. Give that a little rest, and then you're going to come down to sit on your bum. You're welcome to find a comfortable seat that works for you. If you need to sit on a pillow or a block, you can also do this sitting on a chair. It's no problem. We're going to take a seated twist over one shoulder. So I'm going to take my left hand to my right knee, and I'm going to look over my right shoulder and sense into the spiral that happens in my spine. I'm anchoring the sitting bones into the floor, and I'm using my hand that's connected to my knee to create a little bit of a pull. I'm pulling into that hand, which will increase the rotation of the spine. You can stay active through your core, and then gently release that, taking right hand to left knee and twisting, squeezing out any tension in the spine. I like to think of this as like a wringing out of anything that's feeling a little stale in the spine, and then come back to the center. Let's change legs. We're going to do the same thing both ways. So right hand again to left knee, sitting up nice and tall, and then notice if your pelvis has shifted. Can you bring your hip bones to face forward? It'll increase maybe a little bit more of a stretch, and then return to center and change to the other side. Lovely rotation of this beautiful column of bones all the way from the base up to the neck, and come back to center. We're moving into lateral flexion, so keeping the sitting bones anchored into the ground, reaching one hand away from you, and then really see if you can reach with that top arm and create space from the hip to the armpit, and feel how that spine has taken a side bend. If possible, you can also take the elbow towards the floor if that's available to you. Otherwise, you're just staying up and pressing through that underneath arm. Inhale, come back up, and let's go over to the other side. Lovely, big lateral reach, side bend, side flexion. Again, if the elbow can find the floor of the underneath arm, It's a lovely long stretch from the hip to underneath the armpits. Come back to center. We're going to change legs and do that again. Yeah, so again, anchoring through the feet with big reach. Sorry, not anchoring through the feet, anchoring through the tail, the sitting bones. Big reach, 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 reach. Engage your abdominals. You can also move your head around if you like. And then up and over to the other side last time. Move the head around if you like. Good. Come back to the center. You can place your hands to your knees. And I'd like you to draw some circles. So this might feel a little bit more present in the hip space, but I just want you to check in with what's happening with the spine as you do this. You could also start to think of taking shoulder to opposite knee as you come around and feel any twisting that's happening. You can also start to kind of shift back. So if you see me shifting back, can move into some flexion, rotation, forward flexion, rotation, and flexion. Change legs, and let's go into those circles. Nice one for the hips. And put your brain in your spine. And just get curious about that pathway. If you feel like you've been going in the same direction, change direction. And I'm not sure if you can hear my colleague next door. We're still testing out the sound carryover, but if you are, it's a good little giggle happening next door. Good. Come back to center. All right. Bringing your hands underneath your knees, and I'd like you to roll off of the pelvis into flexion of the spine. Think of connecting the abdominals, and then use your abdominals and your arms to roll yourself up. Sit up nice and tall, lift the breastbone, open the throat, and see if you can get some extension to happen in that upper back. And then roll off the tail, find the contraction. And then abdominals, bring you up, hands assist. Find the sitting bones, lift the breastbone, open the throat, find extension, extend, 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 lift, 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 lift. Let's take one more like that, rolling. And recover. And lift, 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 lift. Extend that upper back, breastbone, up, 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 shoulders. Down the back, and then we're going to roll all the way onto the floor and take our final twisting of the spine, reaching right leg to the chest, open right arm, and then I'd like you to cross that leg over the midline and look into the palm of your right hand as you feel a full twist through your spine. If you feel anything a little bit painful, either put something underneath your top leg here around the knee space, or just lower the leg a little bit if it's crunching into your hip. If you need to put your head on a pillow, please feel free to do so. And you could also potentially feel a nice opening in the front of the chest, especially if you're spending a lot of time at your desk. Take a breath in. And come back to the center on the exhale. We've got one more lovely big twist to wash out the spine. Left leg to chest. Open hand and cross the midline. Giving a little bit of assistance with that right hand. Encouraging the left leg, left knee towards the floor. Lovely long breath in. Last inhale. And let it go. Come back to the center. Big reach and a yawn. You can wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And then slowly roll yourself over onto your side body. Bring yourself up to sit. And let's take a breath in. Feel that spine nice and long and tall, sitting bones connected to the floor. One more breath in. And let it go. And then make your way to standing, nice and slowly, bringing your feet underneath your pelvis again. And before you move into your day, just want you to check in with that lovely column of the spine. See where it is as you stand on your legs. And hopefully you're feeling a little bit taller, a little bit more open, a little bit more spacious between the bones, a little bit more active in the muscles that support the spine. And thank you for joining me for day 4. I hope that you're having fun on this challenge and learning something new, or experiencing or discovering something new about your body in motion. Please feel free to put any comments in the comment boxes, or pop me an email, or get hold of me on social media. Leila Kirsten, LeilahKirsten on Instagram, pretty straightforward. And that's it for day 4. Thank you for being here, and yay for day 4. I will see you tomorrow for day 5. Lots of love. Stay well. Ciao.